women have more options than men. Or at least that's what we established with the guys on the last episode. This episode, we're reversing the roles. We're gonna get a woman's perspective. Oh yeah, she's only 23 and married.
Yeah.
So this should be interesting. Welcome to Quality.
Hey.
We are back. We have a guest. She's 23 and married.
Woo!
Just like the intro said. We are back, people. We are back. I am Josh Prophet, here, as always, the Wardtown Creative. I'm here with my lovely girlfriend. Introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Kenya.
Kenya mother freaking McIntosh.
Period.
Let's go. And we have a very special guest. She just happens to be Kenya's best friend.
Yo.
Introduce yourself.
Taylor.
There she is. How are you doing?
I am doing good. How are y'all?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Taylor Larios. And
Ah.
I'm a married woman now.
You are a married woman. How was getting married?
It was definitely a process. I mean, it was a good process.
Mhm.
We got married last year. We're about to have like our 1 year anniversary in
Ah,
April. the 16th,
cheers.
So it's coming up. But yeah, it's fun. We still, figuring everything out. It's completely different from living like separately and dating and then coming together and like living together and seeing each other like all the time and like noticing specific, qualities and traits that you didn't see beforehand, stuff like that. But it's fun getting to know each other even more.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I want you to save some of that because you're about to dive deep. And I was like, whoa, she's starting hot. But speaking of hot, we're going to get into, the hot topic, the tea of the day, right?
Yes.
And what we got today, I'm drinking some Bigelow. It's citrus and oolong. I got to put the enunciation on the ooh. But this is good. I'm going to rate it like a 7. It's smooth. I don't know why the music just stopped, but it's pretty decent. Not my cup of tea, but it's not bad. It's not bad. What are you drinking, Kenya?
I am drinking the same tea, but I would give it like a 6.5, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's grapefruit in here, and I don't really like grapefruit that much. But it's
Give
not
you the stank
bad.
face.
Yeah. It's not that bad though, but it's tolerable.
I got you. And last but not least, Taylor, what are you having?
So today I have the Staff Lemon Ginger Tea. I rate it like a 7. It's not sweet enough for me personally, but I mean it's an herbal tea, so I guess it makes sense. I was sick, so nothing works better than lemon and ginger.
I got you. I got you. Sounds good. Oh, question. Do you like put a sweetener in your tea, like honey or sugar or anything, or do you just drink it?
I just drink it. But honey's healthy,
Yeah, but honey's a natural sweetener. You can put a little honey in there. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I didn't do it this time. I thought about it, but like afterwards, but it's too late.
Gotcha.
But
You had already, dipped your toes in the water. And I gotcha. So, you're a married woman. And before we get into our topic,
Let's see the ring. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, let's see the ring. Look at that.
Yeah.
Period.
Scott did
Okay.
that. Scott did that.
He did.
Oh man. So before we get into our topics, this is going to be a follow up to the last episode. So we're going to be covering most of the topics or all of the topics that we covered on the last episode, except it's going to be more of a woman's perspective. So I'm going to get out of y'all's way. But before I do that, I just want you kind of touched on it. You got married last year, and you touched on like the difference between, just dating and being married. And you also got married, if I'm not mistaken, it was like within like a year, right?
Before a year.
Before a year. So like y'all started dating and then y'all just got to it.
Yes.
So I want you to just touch on, just kind of that process just a little bit, and then we'll dive into our topics.
Okay. Well, we met at our place of business I used to teach like these orientation courses for all of the new hires, and Scott kind of saw me in the room. So he literally just came out of nowhere and like bust through the door, and he was like, "Hi, I'm Scott." And I was like,
Oh.
at first I was like, "This freaking weirdo!" Like you were here coming into my classroom like that. Okay, I don't know who you are. But then like later on, he like ended up Facebook messaging me. And then we ended up meeting up to go on a hike and stuff. And I've never really been hiking like that before him. And I actually loved it. And the conversation, I'm telling you, the first time I really met him in person, it was so easy. It was so smooth. I didn't have to like force my conversation. You know how it gets, sometimes when you don't really enjoy the combo with a person. So you kind of just start making up random stuff to speak about. But it wasn't like that with him at all. It just felt like I've known him for so much longer than I did. But yeah, we went to a beach, and that's when he asked me to be his girlfriend or whatever. And that was maybe 4 months after meeting him. That was it. And then the end of that year in December of 2021, no, December of 2020. Yeah, that's when we got engaged, and then we got married this April 16th of 2021. But it went fast, but like the old saying goes, when you know, that's serious. Like that's it. So we didn't have to really elongate the time in which we had a date and fit society standards because we knew. So
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
So I got a question. So you said Scott just kind of barged into almost barged into your life. So like you must have some serious game. Like what was the line? Like did he hit you? What did he hit you with?
Hi, I'm Scott.
He literally said, "Hi, I'm Scott." And I was like, okay. And he was like, "You're doing a good job." And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know what that means. And he just closed the door. That was it. Like it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he like later on, like after we dated a little bit, he told me he just felt led, like literally led to go into that room.
So he was like, I gotta
probably
get her.
Yeah. For real.
It's funny? So, it's funny because I remember because we were roommates. So I remember like when that happened and you're like, man, this guy came in the room when I was teaching. He was like, I'm Scott. So it's so funny to see like going from there where you're like, what the heck? And now you're like, hey.
So. That's funny. Yeah, but I just had actually a lot of people have said like that's like the best pickup line. It's just hi, I'm Josh.
Yeah.
It's like just start the conversation, right? You don't need anything super smooth or cringy. Like most of the pickup lines are cringy. Like just say hi, have an adult conversation, and if you vibe, you vibe. And like you said, if you know, you know.
Yeah, Josh just said FaceTime me, so.
You want to tell that story really fast?
Yes, please. I would like to hear it.
Because we haven't told it on quality.
Yeah, we haven't. So basically, I know Josh through Natalie, and she's one of our close friends. And so basically, Josh texted me a few times, and each time I was like, "Who is this?" And
I texted you once.
Okay, text me once
because we were in a group.
No, it was twice.
No, we were in a group with Natalie.
Yeah, we were in a group, but like separately outside of that, you text me and you're like,
I think that was the first time I texted you though.
And I was like, who is this?
You know who did?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I said, who is this twice?
No, you did. So the first time, because I think I texted you about, because she didn't want to go skating. And I said something about not going skating. And you're like, who's this? And I was like, Josh. So I was assuming you had my number.
Yeah. And then it happened again. And I was like, who is this? And you're like, it's Josh again. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Well, I just said FaceTime me.
After that. After that? I don't know. But there's 2 times I was like, who is this? And then I felt bad because I didn't save his phone number. And then he was like, FaceTime me. And I was like, who are you? But then I was still like, okay, I'll FaceTime you and see what you want. And then I FaceTimed him and he was like, hey, I see you do videos. And I was thinking we'd be good to like collab and stuff. and could we like have a meeting with each other, talk about like videos and stuff? And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Cause I like videos. He likes videos. I was like, cool. And then I came over, saw the studio. I was like, oh, this is lit. And then
it looked nothing like this.
Yeah, I did. And then I was just like, the conversation was just flowing. I was like, oh, okay. Hello. Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
So, yeah. Well, so I didn't just say FaceTime out of the blue, because what happened was we would all FaceTime in the group together. And so we've done this like numerous times where it was me, Natalie, and you on a FaceTime. And so when I said FaceTime me, I thought that wasn't anything like out of the ordinary, because I've said that in the group. And then everybody just FaceTimes. And so when I said it, and they were like, who's this? I was like, oh, okay. I know where I stand. And then, so yeah, then the rest of the story is accurate. The rest of the story is accurate. But yeah, that's
okay.
We're gonna have to tell a better version of that one day.
Yeah, a more organized version. Yeah, but yeah.
But that's in short, that's what happened. Yeah. Well, let's get into these topics.
All right. First question. Who has more options, males or females?
Taylor, what you got?
Honestly, I feel as though men have way more options than women. Sorry. Like, if we're looking like just at the population and where men and women, where we are equal, men have like a slight advantage. For every like 102 guys, there's 100 women. So there are definitely more men in the world than women. I just feel as though guys that don't know how to approach, like what we were talking about a little bit earlier, they don't know how to approach women. So they're more prone to get like rejected, and not even have like a chance, in my opinion. So yeah.
I see what you're saying.
No, I get what you're saying. So I think you're coming out of it from a different perspective from where we came at it last week. So we were talking more so of like options, as in, all right, you definitely have these people that you can be like, oh, come over and you could just kick it. But I think you hit it on the nail on the head. Yeah, I always get that thing wrong. When you said guys don't know how to approach women, right? And I think that leads to a lot of the rejection. And so I think since guys have more rejection, then that's what creates the options in my head. But I definitely see where you're coming from like just a number standpoint. Like guys should,
like it's crazy. Especially like when we were in college, like me and Kenya, like you said, we went to college and we would have these dorms and we would have to walk, of course, back to the dorm room. Right. And I would never forget this man. He was like,
meow.
What did he do? Meow. He literally said meow. He meowed at us.
No, he didn't.
And then we turned around, we're like,
excuse me.
Yes.
Yes, like a cat. And he thought that was cute.
He could have roared.
Automatically like,
like what?
Something meow. And I'm like, that's supposed to make us want to come and talk to you. It's like,
that's
we're having a party. I don't want to go to your party over here meowing. It's just weird. They make it so awkward for women to actually want to come and speak to them. Like, unfortunately, like women, we're just a little bit more vulnerable than guys, like physically. So we always have to be like more aware of our surroundings. And they don't, like some guys just don't pick up on that. They just talk to us any type of way. Or the infamous quote, "Hey girl, can I talk to you real quick?" No, you got
Snapchat.
Really
you got Snapchat.
Or yes, that was large. You have a Snapchat. Do you have an Instagram? Let me DM you. No, that's not how you come and approach.
Those are good questions, but those aren't like.
You said those are good questions.
No, they are good questions. Like I want your Snapchat, but I don't want it like I don't know you
immediately.
Right. It's like, okay, the eye test, that's good. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, Snapchat. What? That just doesn't even make any sense. Like that's kind of creepy, actually. That's really creepy.
Thank you.
But my other point is, if you're gonna be a cat, how are you gonna be the most fearless cat on the planet? You're just gonna be a house cat and just meow. You're not gonna be a tiger or a lion. Like that's upsetting. Man,
it's funny because you love like big cats and stuff.
I hope homie's watching this because he needs to. I hope his game has improved since then because, well, it's probably been like a year or two since that happened.
Yeah, it was our senior year, so about 20.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I hope his game like improved tremendously because that's awful. That is horrible.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny because I just like remember us walking down the street and we heard it.
I can even
started walking a little bit faster.
Yeah, right. You start picking up the pace. Oh, gotta go. Oh, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Good times.
Well, I like that. We're about to take a sip and get into our second topic. What we got, Kenya?
What's the difference between infatuation and love?
Oh, I think this is a good one here.
Infatuation. Infatuation is always brought upon when you love somebody for like a specific reason, like quote unquote love somebody for a specific reason. So let's say like a guy, he's making a lot of money. Okay. So he's able to buy you like, all the bags that you like to have, all of the jewelry that you like. You don't have to worry about anything monetary wise. And you say you love him because you like the way that his money makes you feel. However, you don't love the person like as an individual. What makes it love is if that same person lost all of their money. Would you still feel the same way about them? Or would the way that you thought you loved them go away? You see what I'm saying? Like love is unconditional. It's not just conditional, like fixated on something that they're doing for you or something that they're providing for you. It is something that is never supposed to go away. Like one of my favorite phrases, I may not like you at this moment, but I'll always love you, because we're human. We get irritated and everything of that nature. So like, you just always have to remember the base point of your feelings towards that person. And like, sometimes love can't only be based on your feelings. You have to be a little bit more mindful that, hey, I choose to love this person. Because if you only base it on your feelings, if you're upset, what are you more likely to do? Just get up and leave. You have to like think all different aspects in order to truly and genuinely love somebody.
No, that was beautiful. Yes. That was beautiful. And yeah, you got to exactly where I was like, oh, I hope she heads there. Like the difference between loving with a condition and unconditional love. Like last week we talked about, love being for the service, like you're at the other person's service, whereas like the infatuation's it's very selfish, right? You have this mindset of it's like, what can this person specifically do for me instead of what can I do for this person? Like I'm in this union with this person. Like how can we come together? And, we talked about the product, make like a beautiful product to where we can, flourish in the world. And so I thought that was really good. Do you have anything to add, Kenya?
I like that you pointed out that love is a choice. Yes. Because it is a choice. It's a daily decision. Yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, I do have a follow-up question. So like you said, you got to wake up and choose that person every day, right? And so we're living in, a time where people are kind of either shying away from marriage or they're just like divorce is like almost like a regular thing, like a regular practice where you can say, oh, like the most recent one, Kim Kardashian was like, I'm choosing me now.
Right.
Instead of my marriage and my family, I got to make the choice to choose myself. And it's like, but you made these vows. So my question is to you, like, what does like commitment mean to you? And then like, how does that play in, a relationship and then going into marriage?
Oh, commitment. So you have to 100% be like dedicated to that person. So to me, commitment is a little bit of like a check and balancing system. So wherever I lack, I need you to pick up, okay? And vice versa, because I need us to be more as an individual instead of being looked at like, I mean, kind of looked at as like one person instead of looked at two separate individuals.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's super important. And going back to what you were saying about marriage not being at the forefront of a lot of people's minds nowadays, it's because probably get some hate because they're playing house.
Oh, y'all.
Right.
Say it.
If you're living together, if you're already doing everything else, you know, you're sleeping together, you already have kids together, you may have jobs together, why would the guy even be more likely to propose to you? Like the old phrase, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Yeah,
please tell me.
Yeah.
Please tell me. Like there is no initiative for them to be like, you know what, if I marry this person, oh, I can go, actually we can live together, we can do this together, because you're already doing everything together.
Right.
So I mean, it's a mixture of them shying away, but also not having to even get married because they already received everything.
They're already playing that role, right? Yeah, that's crazy. But essentially what you're doing when you do that is you're committing without a commitment. And when you do that, like, you know, I always talk about love being like this, almost like a business agreement, because essentially that's kind of what it is. It's like locking you in to what you said that you were going to do. It's because the thing about marriage is you can't leave. Like, that's what you said. You said for better or worse, for richer or poor. It's a lifetime commitment. And people, if you're living together before you're married without that commitment, then you're kind of just telling that person, well, you're good for now. But if something happens, if my feelings change for a season, then I could just leave. And then you see this toxic cycle of people, you know, oh, we were together for a while and then we split up, but then we realized that we're together, but then now we're going to take a break and we're going to go do our own thing. But then I still it is just that's
a mess.
That's crazy. That's crazy because you're picking up all this emotional like baggage and going through this emotional turmoil for no reason, because you're deciding to commit without a commitment instead of, you know, doing things in a certain manner that's going to, you know, be like a safeguard against that.
Right. I agree 100%.
Yes. So that was quality right there. I like that. So we're going to get into our third topic. What do we got, Kenya?
What role has love languages played in your relationship?
Kenya loves this question.
I love languages.
I feel like the understanding of your partner's love languages is super important. Because, for example, mine is more quality time. Like, that's my biggest love language. I can just sit there and just be happy, okay? We don't have to even do anything, okay? Whereas my husband, he's more affectionate. And it took a little time to be like, oh, you know, he's not just clingy, you know, that's literally his love language. That's how he shows, you know, I love you, I care for you. And like also his is like words of affirmation. So he'd be like, oh, I love you. Oh, we can do this, you know, because you look beautiful today. You look like this, you look like that. And it just builds you up as a partner. I mean, but like it's very important to understand that your love language may not be your partner's love language and vice versa. Because if you expect your partner to treat you the way that you would treat him, you're going to get disappointed. Right. Unless you truly do find somebody that has the same love language as you.
So yeah, I got a question. So y'all's love languages are different, right? So how do you find the balance between, you know, making sure that he is supporting you and doing what he needs to do as far as like, you know, the quality time, and then you with, you know, showing that affection and doing the things that you need to do to kind of speak his language? Like, how do you balance that?
So it goes back to communication. So if he feels as though, you know, I'm not being like affectionate enough or something like that, like we listen to each other. Like if we're not spending enough time together that I would want, I communicate that with him. So we just make it like a conscious decision to always like sit down and be like, hey, what am I doing good? What am I doing bad? And then we take that time to kind of reflect on our like relationship and like the type of love languages we have and actually do better. I mean, because it's like marriage is work every day. It will always be work. So what fails in marriage, like what causes marriages to fail, is the fact that people don't want to put work in anymore. And that's the issue. Like once you feel like, oh, I don't have to do anything anymore. Oh, I don't have to worry about how this person feels anymore, whether they feel loved in this certain way, or I don't have to talk to them about that. It just causes the other person to feel isolated. And nobody wants to sit there and feel isolated in their own relationship. Wow. And that's probably why, divorces kind of increases, because nobody takes the time to truly understand their partner. So
I love that. That's really good. And I think that goes even deeper to, what we said, even before you get married, when you're, if you're playing house, then you don't really understand or have to even go through the process of putting in the work, right? Of, the commitment, right? You just said marriage is work. Like every day you got to get up and you got to choose that person. You got to work on the communication. And sometimes you don't like that person, but you got to choose to love them. And if you're just playing house, then, when times get hard, then you're just going to it's easy to just bow out and say, I don't want to deal with that. I can just go over here and she can satisfy me or he can satisfy me for now. And then I can bounce here or I can bounce back, and that's how people, kind of get caught in these cycles. It's the same thing with like the fast food, right? It's like you hop in the drive-through. It's like, yeah, you get your burger or at Chick-fil-A, you probably get it in like 2 seconds. You get your food in 2 seconds.
And you get the points.
And you get the points. And they keep you coming back because it's fast. It's like, oh, I'm hungry now. I know I can get this now. But it's not necessarily the best thing for you. But if you, took the time to, like, a lot of people are into, meal prepping on one day. So when, Tuesday comes around and you are hungry, then you can just pop that sucker in the microwave or pop it in the oven really fast. And then now you have a meal that's more nourishing for you. And you didn't have to go and get all that processed food. Like it's better for you. But the point is you took the time to do the work, right? And so that's what a lot of people have to translate to their relationship is like, can't just not put in work and expect something, long-term to materialize. Like you got to be committed and you got to understand what that word actually means. Like, and when you say the vows, you got to be like, I'm standing on it. Like I really mean this and I'm in it for the long haul. So.
I agree. Like going back to what you're saying about the fast food stuff, I know it's like a little off topic, but like growing up, coming around the table, to eat as a family, that made us feel like more together. And I feel so like as a society, we're so like attuned to going to grab, like you said, fast food, and you're eating alone. And once you eat alone, you come home and then you also go to another room, so it kind of causes this sort of separation, not intentionally, but like it causes this separation. Whereas when you're in the kitchen, you're cooking a meal with your family, and then y'all both come to the table, it gives you that time to reflect, if you had a long day or if you had to really speak about something instead of coming home and just dispersing again. So I know it's food, but it's just like the small things in life that really have like a big impact on your relationship.
I definitely like that. And I think you just hit on something like really, really deep that you probably didn't you didn't even realize you hit on. It's almost like society, as we advance in technology and we're adopting more of a cultural mindset of you got to get yours, right? And you got to be super productive because, we got all these machines and you either got to be super creative or you can get replaced by these machines because these machines are out here just taking people's jobs. Like, so, I mean, it's tough. So to like even make a living now or at a high, income job. Like you really got to be, you know, on your stuff. And so I kind of just lost where I was going with that.
Holy Spirit, bring it back.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. but yeah. Oh, that's where I was going. So, but it's isolating us more instead of bringing us together, because like you said, it's like, all right, you get so caught in this mindset of, okay, I got to get mine. I have this plan. I'm hungry. I can go just grab this food. Now, when I get home, I got to do X, Y, Z. And it's like, no, like the blessing is, you know, in the time spent with your family, right? In the time spent with people you love. Like that's the true blessing of life. And everybody's, you know, trying to chase material wealth or get to a certain status, and they think that's going to make them happy. And then all that does is once you attain something, it's like,
what's next?
Yeah, what's next? And if you didn't enjoy the journey of getting there, if you didn't enjoy the process of going through it, it didn't even make it worth it. If you just, you know, were just like head down and you didn't enjoy the beauty of what you were doing, right? And so sometimes you just got to take a step back and be like,
enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment. Be in the moment with the people you love, because that's what matters at the end of the day.
So money does not bring happiness, okay?
Amen.
Like a lot of people that are over here, like multi-millionaires, they're still craving for some sort of like substance to fill their emptiness that they're feeling. So if you don't have those relationships with people, whether it's like romantic or just like friends, like you're always going to be reaching for something, because we were not created to be alone. And like the people that are like, oh, I don't need friends, those are probably the same people that have been hurt so many times that they don't have the capability that they think to allow themselves to open up to another person because they're afraid that they're going to be a little hurt. But we're not supposed to be alone in this world. It's like even when you're upset, sometimes when you just vent, or if you just gotta like call a friend and just scream, you know, you're still getting everything off of your chest instead of like holding it in and just allowing it to just bubble over until you literally just feel as though you can and take life in it. So friends, and yeah, that's super important.
Got you. I just remembered a quote that I saw today. I was looking up stuff for like Donda because I was like trying to find the album. Come to find out, you can only get it on a stem player. I was like, yeah, fair enough, Kanye, because he just made like 2.2 million the first day.
I saw that
off those. So I was like, kudos to him. I still want it on Apple Music though. Like you got to put it out on Apple Music at some point. And so, I guess I was just on YouTube and like, you know, one of those compilation things of him. It was like a speech from Kanye West, but it was just a bunch of like his old interviews kind of just pieced together. One of the things he said was, the only luxury thing is time, or something to that extent. It's something to that extent. Was the only luxury thing there is like time with your family, basically time with the people that you love. And that hit me so deep. And I was just like, man, like he's right. Here's a guy that's had, you know, everything. He's been basically lived a life like King Solomon, right? Where he had access to, you know, a plethora of women at one point. He had like he was held in high regard like a king, like Solomon was. But then here he is saying like, you know, the only luxury thing you have is time. Now, I still don't agree with everything that he does or says, but like that was so true, because it's like at the end of the day, if you haven't spent quality time with, you know, people that you love and made memories that are going to sustain you as a person and like keep your soul lifted, then it's like you're going to, just like you said, it's like that's why some of these, you know, millionaires and people that seem to have it all fall into, you know, drug addiction or fall into depression and fall into all these different things where they're, you know, trying to chase that feeling,
right?
But they're only giving it in small doses, and they have to keep going back to whatever their addiction is.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and touching on that, the whole millionaires and people who have a lot of money end up like, you know, committing suicide and things like that. Yeah, I think it comes down to, you know, having relationships and having good people around you, but it also goes down to, having your soul right. And of course, like I just have, but like having your soul right and having that relationship with Jesus really just brings you together, like for real.
Right.
Like it really just gives you everything you need, like the contentment with where you are in life, the peace, the joy, the love, all of that. I think is just so important, and that a lot of people are missing out on, like
right.
for real. And then also touching on what you said about like vulnerability and stuff. A lot of people have issues with being vulnerable, like even like to be transparent and vulnerable. I have issues with being vulnerable sometimes. And it's work. It's something that has to be worked on. Just like you said, marriage has to be worked on. Our relationships have to be worked on. Being vulnerable is a task. And I think it's so important that we all like practice it for betterment of our lives. So.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Because you definitely need like Jesus as like the center piece of your life. And then you need people to support that, right? You need people around you to, like, Jesus is the foundation, and then the people around you are helping you kind of build the structure of your house, if that was the representation of, your life. And so if you don't have that, if you don't have a good foundation, of course, then, maybe you build a big house that looks good, but eventually it's going to crumble, right? If you keep trying to add on to it, or just over time, it's going to wear it down. And when bad weather comes, it's going to, just crumble. And then you're left kind of back where we've been talking about. And, depression, you're living like a godless life. And that fulfillment, is really rooted in, your faith. So I like that.
This got deep.
Oh, yeah. That's what we do. We're having quality conversations with quality people, and we're about to go to the next topic.
Okay. What advice would you give to a young woman or young women who are younger than you that are starting to date? What should they look out for, and what should they know?
What should they know?
Start looking at these red flags, okay? So if a guy treats his mom, right, with a lot of disrespect, and you notice that he puts like his hands on his mom, or if he tries to be like emotionally or mentally abusive to his mom, it is a good reflection what he's going to do to you. He maybe try to like gaslight you, and hopefully nothing physically abusive. But at the end of the day, it's important for a younger woman to know you cannot change a person who does not want to be changed.
Right.
Like a lot of women get into relationships, they're like, oh, it's fine. I can change this. Oh, don't worry about that. Oh, I can change it. No, you're not. Like if they are stuck in their ways, they're not going to change for you. If they made it this far without you, they'll continue to make it this far and progress with you there with the same ways that they were like they've been doing in the past, because it's working for them. So why would they change? So that is so important. Oh my gosh. Because I know, like, I think I'm being a little vulnerable. Going back to what you said, Kenya, I've done it in the past too. Like once you get into that relationship and you realize, hey, this is not what I thought, it's important to leave. I feel as though a lot of women also, they get afraid to leave the relationship because they don't want to be alone. But sometimes they fail to realize it's okay to be alone. Sometimes you need to be alone because you need to build up your own self-confidence, your own self-esteem, and possibly like even a relationship with Jesus. So you don't know. You need to build on something before you're able to share your own soul with somebody else.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
No, like that hit home for me. And the thing that keeps coming up here seems to be vulnerability, right? And so I want to kind of dive into, what does that look like? How do we work on it? And well, let's start here. Let's start here. So why do you think, both of you, why do you think it's a struggle to be vulnerable? Like, why do you think it's hard for people to know
like the root cause kind of thing?
Just in general. Well, you can say, of course, your personal, struggle with it, because I think pretty much everybody struggles with being vulnerable. But then you also have that one person who's just like,
no, I don't.
everything about their life's out on the table, that's a whole different issue. But like, why do you think most people struggle with, vulnerability?
I think it goes back to like how we were raised and what our households were like. I think that's like the main reason if I'm being general. But if I'm being specific, like for me, and I think it goes back to like being judged and like as a kid, like maybe there's a time where you're like super vulnerable to someone and then they're like, you're stupid. Why would you even say that? Or something like that. Or I don't know. I think it goes back to like either some childhood thing or family thing.
Right.
That's kind of like triggering. And so whenever there comes an opportunity to be vulnerable, they're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to go through that same experience again and get turned down or get rejected or something like that.
Right. Taylor, what do you got?
I completely agree because like what Kenya said, like as a child, I guess for myself, I was extremely emotional. And I'm still emotional, okay, but I kind of hide it a little bit better. But I was super emotional as a child. And when people would say stuff that would hurt my feelings, it would just make me feel horrible. Mm-hmm. So like the more I got hurt emotionally, the more I kind of put up this wall, like, right. Oh, okay, you're not going to hurt me anymore. I'm done. You don't have to see or like hear what I am feeling emotionally. So it has like created some adverse effects. Like sometimes it can be difficult to express my emotions. Mm-hmm. Like that's something that kind of resonated with me as I continued to grow up because I was such an emotional person. I kept getting hurt. So it definitely, your childhood, like Kenya said, your surroundings, like if you're in a very like emotionally or mentally abusive environment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to build up some sort of external shell to allow yourself to go through day-to-day functions without allowing other people to take your joy by hurting you day to day.
I like that. I think it comes down to, so like when you think about vulnerability and you think about like what's the kind of the process. So if I'm being vulnerable with somebody, then you're almost just stripping yourself down naked and saying like, look at my flaws, right? Mm-hmm. And it almost goes back. Actually, it doesn't almost go back. It does go back to the Garden of Eden, right? Where it's like, yeah, Adam sinned, and now he knows that he's a sinner, and he knows he's flawed. And even though, God came to him and he was like, what did you do? He basically couldn't. He went and hid behind the bush. He realized that he was naked, right? And so it's hard to be vulnerable because it's basically like you're stripping down the layers of your soul, mm-hmm. right? And you're opening it up to this person that can really damage you, that could really hurt you with the information that you're about to give them. And so a lot of people haven't developed enough emotional intelligence to understand how to deal with that. And they haven't placed themselves in good scenarios around good people who are going to allow them that space. Like back to our first guest with Miss Shanta. So she was saying like she recommended therapy because it's like this safe space where you can really, work on yourself, right? And it's completely without judgment. And one of the things that came up was like, well, you need people like that in your life that are going to give you the same safe space that a therapist would give you to, talk about things that you're going through, because that's crucial. Because if you have that trust that I can be vulnerable with Kenya, right? Or I can be vulnerable with this person, I can be vulnerable with Taylor, then like you're able to open up yourself. And when you're able to open up to other people and they're able to share their experience back with you, now you can both leave the conversation and heal and grow, right? But if you don't have that safe space to go to, then it's like walls. Every time you run into a situation, you got these walls, because on the exterior, you're trying to appear perfect, right? Which is, a model in our society is like, you got to be perfect. You got to have your makeup done. Guys got to be big and buff, and got to have a certain occupation, make a certain amount of money. And you're chasing these ideals, and nobody's really being a human or connecting with other people on a human level. And so that's vulnerability. Is like, you got to have those safe spaces with people to be like, yeah, I can reveal the layers to my soul with these groups or with this group. And that's why you probably should have a tight group, right? I'd rather have a really tight group of people that I could just, have these deep conversations with, and that are going to help me grow and develop as a man, as a believer. Way more than I would want to, have like a bunch of so-called friends who just know me. Yeah, entourage, yeah, who just know me, and they're really just acquaintances at the end of the day. They don't know me beyond, hey, Josh, you do this. Yeah, you're a cool guy. It's like, no, I want them to know who Joshua Prophet is, right? Like who exactly I am. And I want to get to know you for who exactly you are. And I think when we can get to a place like that for a large amount of people, then the world will be a lot better of a place. That's for sure.
Yes.
So yeah. So yeah, that was I think we're gonna take a sip. I'm like done with my tea. This is the first time this has happened.
Wow.
Where I just
Are
kept
you
drinking.
sure it was a 7?
Yeah, it was definitely a 7. No, it was 100% a 7. But like, I'm like down to a sip. I feel that's what
Dapper Dan.
Well, both of them.
Yeah, they were like, but they actually loved the tea. Yeah, they loved it.
Who was it? I keep wanting to call him by his other name. Deshaun, yeah. Deshaun was like, yeah, I'm like almost at the bottom of this. Yeah, that was funny. All right, we're going to move on. Are we on question 4 or 5?
You're on 5.
We're on 5. All right. Last question. Last topic. What we got, Kenya?
If you had a son, what advice would you give him?
I like this question.
To not go after looks 100%. I know it's hard because like attraction, at least that initial attraction, for guys is normally physical attraction. But if you kind of strip away the layers of like the physical attraction and you take the time to really like talk to that person, can you really see, yourself with them for the rest of your life? Do you all have the same morals, same values? Because if not, I mean, that person, even though they might look good exteriorly or externally, internally, they're just not your match. So I feel like that's super important for young guys to not always go for the physical, but also for the mental, the emotional, and like I said, the spiritual too. Because I mean, that could be a difficult subject. Like if you're Christian and the son goes after somebody who's like Muslim or something of that nature, it will automatically create like this tension between the two families. Especially if one family is 100% Christian and the other family is like 100% Muslim. They're automatically going to find something that they do not like with one another. And believe it or not, tension in the family can sometimes affect tension in one's relationship. So it's just super important to just assess that person, just not based off of their physical appearance, and just really judge and assess whether or not they correlate and they can be with you for the rest of their life.
I like that.
Good stuff.
I like that. Kenya, what do you have?
Ooh, what do I have? Dang, I just had it. I just had it too.
No problem. So I think I like what you said. I always say like, as if I had a son. So yeah, let me play the let me play the prompt. If I had a son, I'd be like, all right, son, like looks do matter because if you're not physically attracted to her, it's not gonna work. Like it's just not gonna work. Like guys are kind of wired that way. So Kenya, check. Good job, honey.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, mom and dad.
Huh?
So thanks, mom and dad.
Right. She got them good genes. But then next it's like, all right, do I connect with her? I would say spiritually first. Like, do we have the same core values, which starts at, your faith, right? Do I have the same core values? Do those align? And then from that, can I connect with her emotionally, right? Can we, what we say all the time, and we probably said it every single episode, can you explore the depth of that soul, the soul of that person, and get to the point where you're like, yeah, I would wake up every single day and I would choose you every single day. And so that's kind of the steps I would say, like, son, like, yeah, I mean, looks matter. Yeah, but that's very superficial, right? But what's more important, of course, be attracted to her because that matters. But you also need to understand that your values need to align, like really align. And then you got to also, furthermore, be able to emotionally connect with her and then get to the point where it's like, yeah, I want to be with her every day. I choose you, like you were saying earlier. And the biggest thing, which is, this was the actual answer to my question before you answered, was I would actually teach my son how to be masculine, right?
Yes.
Which doesn't mean macho and the popular term is toxic masculinity, where guys are just running around being super ultra aggressive and actually a damage to society. That's not what masculinity is at all. What masculinity is being emotionally intelligent, right? And being able to, understand yourself and understand how you fit in the world and how to navigate the world, right? And how to lead, not with your mouth, but lead by example. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you get in a relationship, you're going to have to learn how to, lead your woman, right? But that also comes with learning how to be a good follower. And what are you following? You're following, your faith. You're following the example that Jesus has set, what, God has, ordained for you in your life. And so you got to get to that place where you're emotionally intelligent enough to be like, yeah, I know who I am. I know whose I am, like the saying goes, and I know how to lead, but I also know, who I'm following. I also know what I'm following and what the end goal is. And I don't have to be this super aggressive, ultra toxic masculine guy, but, I don't have to put up with, nonsense either. I can stand on my 10 toes for myself. I can stand on my 10 toes for my faith, and I can stand on my 10 toes for my woman. That's the advice I would give to my son.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good job.
Future dad of the year right here.
Future dad of the year. I don't know about that. We'll see. I'm gonna try my hardest. Get that look off your face.
Okay, so it came back to me. So, but I have 2 points.
Okay.
So, kind of going back to the last question about what would you give advice, like what advice would you give to young women? My advice would be don't settle, because that's a big thing. Like, know your worth, know your boundaries, know whatever you gotta know, and don't settle. Don't settle for anything less than that. And if you are already in a situation where you are settling, get you a good friend like Taylor and let them tell you straight and leave, because
oh, that sounds like some past experiences. We can save that for another podcast.
If y'all only knew.
We could save that.
But yeah, don't settle. Not worth it. And it's going to waste your time. And then for my son, the advice I would give would be stay away from the fast behind girls, because it's true. Because I've heard that like growing up. Mm-hmm. But after going to college and like seeing like there really are fast behind girls, I was like, oh, No. But yeah, I think that'd be my advice to my son. Stay away from them fast behind girls. Know your purpose in this life. Know what you're supposed to be focused on. And yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to our fast food conversation though.
Yep.
It's the same. It's the same premise. It's like, yeah, I can just get this now, and I'm feeding into my desires rather than what's good for me long term. Like everybody wants the short term feeling, but long term they feel horrible, right? And it's like, well, if you forego your pleasure now, like you're gonna end up with a bigger reward later, right? Which is that's what sacrifice is, which is the message of Jesus is right. It's like die to your flesh, right? He came to save from your sins. If you recognize that and you follow his example and you die to your flesh now, the last shall be first in the end. And so yeah, maybe it looks like I'm foregoing the good life, right? And I'm not living my best life now. And really, I mean, you're living a really good life if you follow the principles of the Bible. But the reward is, eternal, right? Like it's an infinite reward rather than, just that quick fix. Yeah. Taylor, I think we have a little speed round for you. So we're about to get into, yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it. So we're about to get into some rapid fire presented by Wartown Creative.
Rapid fire.
So Kenya is going to go through a series of questions. You are to answer them as fast as you can. This did not go well last podcast. Oh, look at her. She's getting ready.
Yeah. We get ready. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Ready.
Film with you.
Best quality in a partner.
Understanding.
Ooh, okay.
Perfect date.
Picnic.
Which gender is strongest emotionally?
Women.
Biggest deal breaker in a relationship?
Repeat
no
it.
Progressive mindset.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Does age matter?
No.
Does family approval matter?
No.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
I like
Good
that.
job.
I like that. That was good. Okay. We're going to have to, all these rapid fire questions, we got to come back with some of the guests that we've done it with and then get deeper into what their answers were. Because a lot of them, they say this or they say that. And I'm like, there's so much more to unpack there. But yeah, that was good. Especially the age one said no. And the parent approval one, no.
Ew.
So, we don't have time to get into it on this episode, but we will definitely have you back on. Talk
Maybe
about
with Scott featuring.
Yeah, with your husband, Scott.
Featuring Scott.
That would be great. We can get into more of your experiences in college, right? We can bring the, or not. Your face doesn't look too promising. But yeah, we'll just continue to have quality conversations with quality people because that's what we do. And so before we get out of here, we want to thank you, Taylor, for coming on. You've been a great guest.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. So do you have any last words for us?
Keep watching quality tea, okay? Quality content for quality people, period.
I love it. K-Mac Attack, what you got?
What do I have? Get you good friends. Surround yourself with good people. Surrender your life to Christ, period.
I love it. I have aim for higher purpose so you can break your curses. Because that's what we do here.
Oh, nice.
All right, so we're about to wrap this thing up. Remember, if you thought this was a quality conversation, please like this video. Join the quality conversation down below in the comments. Quality conversation with quality people. That's what we do here. And until next time, remember to always be blessed. Peace.
Bye.